think I am live. Woo-woo. Hopefully you guys can hear me. This is my first time doing a live stream on YouTube, and it's my first time using OBS, and it's new internet and a new computer, and Jesus criminy. I live not too far from a main thoroughfare where lots of people like to go boom, boom, boom in their vehicles. Today we're talking about money magic. My money magic philosophy has evolved over the years, but I've kind of always been a little bit magical when it comes to money. Open my window back up. Yay! People can hear me! Okay, so there's a little bit of a time delay from me talking to it actually going through YouTube, which is kind of weird, but okay. So, money magic. We're going to be talking about my preferred method of money magic. We're also going to be talking about my theories and philosophies about magic and about divinity, and because it's all connected. And how I do money magic every Thursday. I have 4 service days a week. Most of you that follow me already know this. I have 4 service days a week. Tuesday is Hex Day, Wednesday is Psychic Tuesday Day, Thursday is Money Day, and Friday is Blessing Day. Saturday is not a service day, but it does have a dedicated theme to it, which is Planning Day. And then Sunday and Monday are sort of my days off. I'm petting a kitty. Here, we're gonna have a kitty come see us. This is Dottie. Yes, my Dottie. She's a sweet baby. Okay. So, those of you that so far everybody that's here knows me. I am bouncy. I will kind of zip from topic to topic. This is just how my brain works. We flow with it. Okay, so money magic. Let's start with the basis of my money magic, which is a relationship with Juno Monita. I have to go back a few years to explain that a little bit. I can't even remember what year it was. I'd have to look on Facebook because I lived my life on Facebook. But several years ago, there was this exercise going around in spiritual coaching circles where you imagined money as a lever, and what your ideal lover would be, and how you would seduce them, and how they would seduce you, and all that good stuff. So I sat down to do this exercise, and what came to me was a goddess in distinctly Roman garb. And I was like, not quite what I would have thought my ideal lover to be, but okay. So I decided to Google, and I found out that it was Juno Monita. Now, Juno, you may be familiar with. She is the Roman supreme goddess, wife of Jupiter. She's the Roman equivalent of the Greek Hera, although not quite as vindictive and spiteful as Hera is. Which Hera has lots of reasons to be vindictive and spiteful because Zeus is a rat bastard. But Juno is the wife of Jupiter. Jupiter rules over abundance and expansion. But Juno, specifically Juno Monita, her Monita epithet is where we get the word money from. She was the guardian of the treasury of Rome, and she and I just went blank for a second there. She was the guardian of the treasury of Rome, and her image was stamped on Roman coins. So our Western ideas about money can be directly traced to her or to worship of her. So I got that image, and that's when I started a devotional relationship with Juno Monita. Well, about a year later, I had a vision. I call them visions, but I don't really see anything. I just get this very detailed impression, and vision is just the easiest way to convey to other people what's going on. So I got this vision of a great goddess. Her skin was charred and burned beyond recognition and cracked and dry, and beneath was gold. And she was in chains. She was bound in chains, and there were these men in suits surrounding her, chipping away at her skin and getting to that gold. And this is another one I'll have to look up on YouTube and find on Facebook, because I know I've written about this vision before on Facebook. And that was Juno. That was money bound for purposes other than what it was originally for. Money is a means of exchange. It's an energy, and energy doesn't like to be stagnant. It doesn't like to be bound up. You have to do all sorts of things to keep energy in one place. Like that's what a battery is. It holds energy in one place, and it doesn't want to stay that way. A battery over time will discharge. Its energy is meant to be used. Money is energy. Money is meant to be used. But it's in our current capitalist system, it's all hoarded. This video probably could have been called anti-capitalist money magic. Because my view is what we're doing as witches who are practicing money magic, who are also anti-capitalist, is taking money back from those who would hoard it, taking money back from those who would hold on to it. So, all right, let's see. How do we want to go about this? How do we want to go forward? A few things we need to keep in mind. Money does not trickle down. That whole trickle down bullshit is bullshit. Money does not trickle down. It flows up. And we need to keep this in mind both at the macro level, at the big economy level, and also at the personal level in our lives. Money does not trickle down. It flows up. And you have to purposely shift it down so that it can flow back up again, and shift it down so that it can flow back up again. This is one of the reasons I'm a proponent of the universal basic income, supported by billionaire taxes, because the billionaires were taxed off the wazoo, and that money was sent back to the base, back down. It would flow back up and push it back down, flow back up, push it back down, flow back up. Together we rise. When the base rises, the top rises too. But anyway, that's a whole other topic of discussion. No, it's not a whole other topic of discussion. It's a money magic workshop. This is money talk. Okay. So on the personal level, what that means, that money rises. Money rises. It doesn't trickle down. It flows up. Is that we're going to tend to put money into the things that are most in our face, the things that are right there at the top on the surface that we can see the most clearly, the most urgent. But that's not always the stuff that needs the money the most. Okay? So, I don't know where I was going with that. We'll figure it out. Before we get too hard into this, I'm going to give you a really practical thing that you need to do for your money magic. Start a money bowl. Mine is full of change right now. This is probably the most change I have been able to save in years. This is a visual cue that my money magic is working, because for years, if I had any amount of change, it was going to be used for something. Okay? So, money bowl. Super easy. Sometimes I will have other items in this. For a long time, I had some cinnamon sticks in it, but I need to get new cinnamon sticks to refresh that. You can put herbs in it. You can put trinkets in it. You can put items in it. But anymore, what I do is I toss the change into it, and then every Thursday I clear it. And when I say clear it, I'm using a pendulum. This is the pendulum that I use. I think it's malachite. I can't remember. I've had it for years, spent a lot of money on it. Can't remember what it was. Does not really matter what kind of pendulum you use. I also have this one. Also can't remember what stone that is. I'm not really a stone person. They talk to me, but I don't know what their official names are. So that's it. That's my money magic practice. Is every Thursday I clear my money bowl, and anytime I have change, I toss it into the money bowl with the thank you, more please. That's it. That's my money magic practice. But my money magic is inarguably effective. Money just shows up for me all the time. It has been like this for a very long time. It just shows up. A lot of times it's just enough, just in time, which can be very frustrating because just enough is relative and just in time is relative. And just enough, just in time often feels very time crunch, but it is what it is. When I applied for the EIDL loan, I got notification the day after I applied that I was invited to go further into the process. I got notification that same day that I had been approved, and the money was in the bank 3 days later. This apparently is unheard of because I know people who applied for the loan the same day that I did and are still waiting or have been asked for more documentation and more documentation and more documentation. And so this is what money magic does. It sort of greases the wheels so that money flows to you more easily, rather than getting trapped up in those official channels. Because money is bound up in the cogs of the system. And so money magic can help to loosen that binding. But it doesn't have to be very complicated. A bowl of change that you clear with a pendulum every week. Because that's where your key is. That's where your money magic works, is doing it consistently. Which is why I do it weekly. When you try to start a daily magical practice, you're probably going to fail. If you're trying to start a daily anything, you're probably going to fail. Weekly is much easier. And what's more important than frequency is consistency. Magic is a relationship. I posted this on Facebook actually just a few minutes ago. Let me find it so I can read it. Come on, computer, behave yourself. The truth is, your magic doesn't work because you only tap in when you need it. Imagine if someone came to you only when they needed you and never showed up otherwise. Magic is a relationship with the divine in whatever way you conceive of the divine. And one-way relationships are never really healthy. Think of that person in your life. If you have one of these, you probably do have one of these, at least one of these, who only comes to you when they need something. Otherwise, you never hear from them. They want you to do something for them. Otherwise, you never hear from them. I can think of a couple of those in my life. I don't really speak to them anymore because they only ever come to me when they need something. That's not a relationship. That's a transaction. Transactions are capitalist. We are anti-capitalist. We're not going for transaction with divinity. Transactional divinity is what you get with, can you think of any relationships that have transactional divinity? That have an I'll do this if you do this relationship? If you behave yourself, you can get into my good place? Can we think of any ones like that? That's a transactional relationship. And we're not going for transactional relationships because transactional magic gets funky. Transactional magic is basically what capitalism does. We're going for relationships. We're building a relationship with money as a divinity. We're building a relationship with other divinities in our lives. I have multiple goddesses that I have devotional relationships with. There's Juno, who handles my money, and let me tell you, she does a rockin' job. Rockin' job. Hand over your money to a goddess and just watch it grow. Now, this is not, you're suddenly going to be a millionaire or a billionaire kind of money magic. This is, what life do you want and what money do you need to support that life? And we're going to get into the what life do you want next week in the vision mapping workshop. But right now we're talking about money because I want you to start that relationship and establish it now. You do not have to have the relationship with Juno. Juno doesn't have to be your money guy. You don't have to have a money goddess if you need to fit it into your own personal theological framework. That's perfectly acceptable. But remember, think of it as a relationship, not as a transaction. That you could have a relationship with an ancestor. I also work with my grandmother, who died in 2011. When it comes to my money, she was great with money. She she was a hustler. She always had some sort of business going until her later years when she became a minister. And so she was always doing something, and she always had money coming in. She handled all the finances for her and my grandfather. She always took care of all the money. She was always great about that. Perfect credit, the whole 9 yards. And so she is an ancestor that I work with when it comes to money. So do you have a grandparent who was very good with money, or a passed on aunt or uncle who was very good with money? You might want to connect to them. If you're a Christian, it's absolutely perfectly acceptable to connect to Jesus or to the Holy Spirit or to God or to Mary or to whoever or to however you feel that a connection of abundance and flow, whoever you want to guide you and advise you and handle your money. Juno handles my money. Hala is my home goddess. Circe is my plant and gardening goddess. And then there's my main goddess, Paradox. She is wild. So we're building relationships here, and this is where that consistency comes in. You don't need to think of these divine beings as your friends, as your companion, as your family. It's not a situation of hierarchy where they have more power than we do, because they don't. The divine does not have more power than we do, especially in this physical world. We have more ability to make change than they do. What they have is a big picture connection that we don't have. They can nudge someone 1,000 miles away to do something that ends up being beneficial for us. That's where their power lies. That's how the magic works. So I'm doing this weekly consistent money magic, and Juno might nudge somebody somewhere to send me a donation or something or other in some other sort of way. They have that bigger picture where they can nudge things in ways that we can't do. So again, we're not talking about a hierarchy here. I'm an amethyst. Let's get rid of all hierarchy. We all contribute in different sorts of ways. We are all equally important. We're building that relationship, that friendship, that familyship, whatever that you want to call it. I just said it myself. Train wreck is what I'm centering myself with right now. Okay, so we're building that relationship with divinity, which requires that sort of consistency. And consistency is easier to maintain when it's simple. And this is one of the ways that magical power is sort of hoarded, by making it seem like it's super complicated. That you have to be in the perfect mindset, and you have to be in the perfect space, and everything has to be perfectly cleansed and cleared, and your energy has to be perfectly aligned, and if you're even remotely distracted or don't do it exactly right, it's not going to work. Well then, who the fuck is ever going to be able to do magic at that point? Because, I'm sorry, my life don't work like that. That's one of the ways that power is hoarded, by making people think that magic is complicated and that it has to be complicated and that you need all these steps and all these tools and this perfect timing. And all of that stuff can help, especially when you're getting started and learning how to focus and learning how to feel the particular types of energy, but it's not necessary, okay? So it's much more important to be consistent than it is to be complicated. Simple is easier to maintain consistency than complicated is. If you have to do astrological calculations to determine the exact time of magic every time you have to do magic, you're not going to do a whole lot of magic. Now, on the flip side of that, doing magic on certain days helps to maintain that consistency, which is why Money Magic is Thursday, Blessing Day is Friday, Psychic Food Day is Wednesday, Hex Day is Tuesday, because having it on the same day each week helps it be more consistent. But you don't have to do complex astrological calculations to determine when the sun and the moon and Mercury and Venus and Mars and Jupiter and what's aspecting what and what's retrograde and all of that stuff. You just have to know, oh, it's Sunday, that's the day of the sun. It's Monday, that's the day of the moon. It's Tuesday, that's the day of Mars, which is why it's Hex Day, because Mars is an adversarial planet. It's the god of war, and what better to have on your side when you need to smack a bitch down. Wednesday is Psychic DJ Day because Mercury rules Wednesday, and when Mercury rules music, Mercury rules communication, Mercury rules messages. That's also the day that I schedule a phone call. So if I know that I have to make a phone call during the week, it goes on my calendar on a Wednesday. That's also a good day for research because Mercury rules over education. So then Thursday, Jupiter rules over Thursday. Jupiter is married to my money goddess, so we might as well work with money on Thursday. Jupiter also rules expansion and abundance. So this is why I do clear my money bowl on Thursday. I do my posts on Thursday offering everybody else that I will clear your money for you as well. So when I sit down to do money magic, what I'm doing is I'm looking through that post and I will clear. I'm going to teach you now how I clear. This is how I work with the pendulum. Now, you can believe that spirit is moving the pendulum, or you can believe that it's micro movements in your hand. It really doesn't matter. What it is it's micro movements in your hand, move it, but it's connected to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is connected directly to the divine. So either way, you, the divine, they're the same damn thing. Okay? So I will hold my pendulum, and I have a very clear relationship with my pendulum that if it's moving clockwise, it means yes, or it's clear. If it's counterclockwise, it means no, or it needs to be cleared. So I do the clearing counterclockwise, and it's going to continue to go counterclockwise as long as it needs to continue to be cleared. Once it stops and starts to reverse and go counterclockwise, I'll allow it to go counterclockwise for a while, because when you clear energy, you always want to put energy back in. This is not just with money magic. This is with any kind of magic that you're doing. If you feel energy in your house and you need to do a clearing and a cleansing in your house, you do that clearing and that cleansing, and then you immediately put the energy that you want into it. Because if you don't fill that energy back up, the universe is gonna, and it's probably going to go to the default energy that you just got rid of. Okay, so this is what we do. We clear the money and then fill it with positive flow. So every Thursday, I make my posts, sometimes early in the day, sometimes in the evening. There's nothing rigid with my rules for magic. It's not, you have to do it at a specific time on a specific day. That does not work for my brain, so fuck that noise. If it works for you, do that. It does not work for my brain. It does not work for my life. So this is what works. This is what I do. It's the consistency of doing it over and over and over. So I'm going to clear all of our money right now. Okay? This is what we're going to do. And I'll take a few moments. I will breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth to get myself centered. Side note, I need to go on a rant about the word grounded and grounding and how psychologically, particularly if you're an American who grew up in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, that word probably throws you off, because as a child, when you got grounded, it was not a good thing. Centered is the word that I use. Centered and connected, not grounded, connected. And then in my mind, I will clarify my intentions. My intentions are to clear money for myself and for all who watch this video live or recorded. So this is an expansive intention. Each time someone watches this, their money flow will become clearer. And then I'll just hold my pendulum. And for me, it's going counterclockwise. I'm sure it's a little bit backwards for you. But I will just allow it to do that until it stops. And actually, I'm going to steady my arm. Normally, I'd have my elbow sitting on the table, but the way my camera on my computer is set up, I have to hold it up like this for y'all to see it. The movement is subtle. It's not a big dramatic swing. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes when I'm clearing for myself or for someone else, it'll be this big dramatic swing because there's lots of ick to be cleared. And sometimes it shifts quickly. Other times it can take a while. It's still clearing. And actually, I'm going to put my arm down while it does this. My arm is getting stiff. Let me see if I can. Nope, that don't work. That didn't. I plan on doing these videos weekly, so I will probably end up getting myself a new setup with a camera and stuff to do this better. I also want to start doing pre-recorded videos. And it is still clearing. It is still going counterclockwise. And when you are working with your pendulum, ask it. As you're getting to know it, ask it. What? Show me yes. Show me no. Show me maybe. Just ask it. Tell it to. And that's true with any oracle. You're establishing a language, and you can use the predefined language of another person, or you can make up your own. The universe is going to adapt to you. And this is one of the reasons that I'm such an effective channel, is that I'm so open, is because over the years I've taught the universe, well, this is how I want you to talk to me. This is what works for me, and build that relationship. So over the years, I've built a relationship with my pendulum. Counterclockwise means no, clockwise means yes. This kind of not circular swing, but swinging means maybe. When I'm clearing, counterclockwise means there's energy that still needs to be cleared. When it shifts to clockwise, that means the energy is cleared and it's ready to be poured back in. And we're still clearing. We're still going counterclockwise, which is not surprising at all. Money is kind of wonky right now, what with the pandemic and economic crash and all that good stuff. Now, when it's done clearing and we're getting ready to put the energy in, I'm going to tell you right now, I will signal to you, I will let you know when it has started to shift and when we're putting the energy in. Start thinking of the abundance that you need in your life. You can be very specific. Maybe you want a certain amount of money for a certain thing that you want. Or you can be very general. You just want more. The energy that I'm going to be focusing on for this particular time, once this is clear and I begin to pour the energy in, is I'm in America. I'm in the U.S., so the energy that I'm going to be focusing on is for Congress to finally get their shit together, create a new stimulus package, one that extends the $600 a week unemployment. That's my dream. That's my goal. Extends the $600 a week unemployment and also gets a second stimulus check. That's the most realistic possibility. That's the stretch of realistic possibilities as far as the world that we live in right now goes. Like, we're not going to get more than that. It would be great, but we're not going to get more than that. We're going to be, it's going to take some magic to get that. So that's what we're focusing on. And we're still clearing. Still clearing. I don't like the word blocks. Never really have. I've always kind of been resistant to that. But what we are clearing is any obstacles, any challenges, any energy that is working counter to our needs. And we will get more into needs in 2 weeks. Next week is vision mapping. And then the week after that is the introduction to the Bend framework, which the Bend framework is the replacement for the bitch slap. It adds bitch slaps were needs, desires, and expectations. The Bend framework adds boundaries and is based on work that I have been doing in my personal life the last few years that has created dramatic changes for me. Okay, so the pendulum is starting to slow down and it's starting to shift, so I want you to hold your intentions now for what money you want flowing into your life. We want that extension of unemployment. We want businesses to adapt to the new economy, because this ultimately is a new economy that's developing here. We want money to flow. We want our needs to be met in such a way that we can also fulfill our desires. And we're just going to pour that energy into there. We're just going to feel that intention, and we're just going to let that go for a few minutes, because we want to fill that flow, that abundant flow. Okay. So I'm going to set my money bowl aside now. Now that she's nice and clear. And I'm going to tell you what was going on with me while I was doing that. So I was babbling and talking, but there was also things going on. There's also things going on inside me, specifically energetically. And this is where consistent practice comes in. I feel the energy, and I can transmute the energy in my body. So I can take shit energy. I can take horrible, horrible energy, and I can clear that energy. And then in my body, feel it change into something else. Because energy can either be created or destroyed. It always is, but it can change states. So energy can become matter, matter can become energy. Right? There's a fixed amount of energy in the universe. And so what we're doing is just transmuting this. This takes practice. This takes learning to feel. And this is where mindfulness comes in. Now, we have this pop culture idea that mindfulness is I'm going to sit and I'm going to clear my mind. And I don't know how to clear my mind. It's always going. The best I can do is focus on my breathing and keep bringing my focus back to my breathing. What we really mean by mindfulness is paying attention to what's going on in the mind and in the body and in the environment. Noticing, not constantly being on autopilot. How often are you on autopilot? How many times have you driven from point A to point B and don't remember how you got there? Zombie mode. You're just kind of a zombie going day to day and in autopilot. And so mindfulness is about paying attention. It's about noticing When you're angry, how does that feel? This is important for magic, is knowing how it feels when you have a specific emotion in your body. How does that feel? And if you don't feel it, you have to learn how to feel it. And I know this because I used to be very, very numb. And when I'm numb, my magic is shit. So I work very hard not to be numb. And this could be really hard when things are really super painful, when you're in traumatic situations, when you have unhealed trauma. And let's face it, all of us have some levels of unhealed trauma. All of us have some level of ongoing trauma. We live in a culture that is nonstop repetitive trauma on basically everybody. So mindfulness is learning how to exist in your body without resisting what's happening, feeling it, and not reacting to it, but responding to it. So not falling into those habitual patterns of behavior, but pausing, saying, that's not who I want to be, this is who I want to be, and shifting track to become who you want to be, not who you have habitually been. Okay, so as far as our money goes, who have you habitually been when it comes to money? I want you to journal about this. How have you treated money? How have you felt treated by money? How is your relationship with money right now? What does visualize your money lover? Maybe like me, it turns out that it's a goddess. Maybe it's not a goddess. Maybe it's an ancestor. Maybe you have a whole host of beings who are your advisory board when it comes to money. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be a real life person. It could be some financial guru. But remember, whoever it is you're following, that's the type of life you're attempting to lead. Make sure that who you're following is teaching you things that are in alignment with your values. I'm not going to judge your values. If you want to be a billionaire, then go be a billionaire. Good luck. It's a lot harder to become a billionaire without connection. So start to think about what kind of relationship you want to have with money. Do you want to have a relationship with money that is constantly tense, that is constantly fraught with worry? If you don't, then you need to stop having that relationship with money. And this can be really, really hard because money doesn't always show up as fast as we would like it to, as fast as is comfortable. But you need to remember that vision that I had of money as a goddess who was bound in chains by a bunch of men in suits. That means money is currently in an abusive relationship with some toxic people, and we need to help her get out of that abusive relationship. So if money is a person and she's in an abusive relationship that she can't get out of for whatever reason, how are you going to support her? How are you going to help her so that she can show up for you? That's just one way that you can look at it. What offerings do you feel compelled to make to money? Now, offerings to money can be an altar. It can be time. It can be things. Like I have my money bowl, which basically serves as my money altar. And sometimes I feel moved to put things in it, like I might put cinnamon sticks in it or bay leaves in it or other herbs and stuff that represent money. Other times, my offering is my time. In fact, every week, my offering is my time where I sit with my money bowl and I clear it. So this is how you build that relationship. Over and over and over, consistently showing up again and again and again and again. Okay. My voice is starting to crack a little bit. I haven't done one of these lives in a long time. So I'm going to call this one good for tonight. I will touch on money magic more and more and more. I'm not the greatest at doing these workshops, but I want to get better, and I want to start having workbooks for you guys as well. With journaling prompts, I'm much better in writing. I think for next week's vision mapping workshop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a workbook, and then we'll go through the workbook on the live. It'll help me keep on track a little bit better because the vision mapping process is a little bit more involved than the money magic. Money magic is just show up again and again and again. It doesn't matter the specific container or how exactly you do it. Your money bowl doesn't have to be a bowl. You can have a cup. It can be in your head. It can be elaborate. You can have this huge altar with all sorts of things on it if you want to. It can do whatever you want it to. But the vision mapping process is much more specific and much more certain way to do things. But it works. It works. It works. And the closing on my house is next week. Vision mapping works. All right, that's it, guys. Bye-bye.